Good morning, everyone. This is Michelle from The Little Things and More. I'm going to be doing another series in the Depression Glass videos on how to. This one is on Anchor Hocking Depression Glass. It's been a little while since my update to a new video on the glass series. I do apologize. Been really super busy and constantly battling a cold. But with that said, let's go ahead and get this started. Like I said, we will be talking about Anchor Hocking today, and it's one of the biggest names in depression glass. And it was just called the Hocking Company, which later in the 1930s it became Anchor Hocking. And during the 1930s, Anchor Hocking was able to produce about 90 pieces of glassware per minute, and that made them have the ability to sell a pair of tumblers for only 5 cents. Now, most of this information that I'm giving you, I will link to history websites below, as well as a lot of research links that you can use while researching your glass products that you want to sell or collect, or however you'd like to use the information in this video. I will put all of the links from information that I've gathered below in the comments, or in the description, I mean. Anyway, a lot of the Anchor Hocking pieces are quite common, and collectors who actively seek out the pieces, they collect quite a few patterns, and not only just certain patterns, but also they look for piece combinations. So some are rare and some are highly sought after. So you could have one pattern that is very common, but there are only a few pieces in that particular pattern maybe that are super rare and highly sought after. And I will show you some of those explanations, I'll show you some of the examples in the current and completed auctions a little later in the video. But the collectors look for the Depression era Hocking in rare colors and pattern combinations. They do also look for pieces that have had limited runs, and even though some of the patterns, like I said, were common, there are so many that do have sought after pieces within the same pattern. I also find my best way to research the different glasswares that I sell is know your pattern names. And there are so many places where you can find pattern names, and I do have one that I use quite frequently that I will also list below, where they have not only Anchor Hocking, but all of the Depression Glass Company's patterns. Most of them are listed on their website. I also like to look at the sold listings once I know the pattern names. Worth Point is another one that I use. I use Google. There are so many other areas online, so many groups, so many Facebook groups, forums, blogs. There's a wealth of information when it comes to research and researching glass. And like for example, in Collectors Weekly, they've got the Hocking cameo pattern. And it was quite common when it came to dinnerware, but Cameo made a sandwich server in green, or it was like a covered butter dish in yellow, and those are considered a definite prize if you find those. And similarly, excuse me, Hocking made a lot of cups and saucers in their Mayfair collection, but finding a footed console bowl in a pink color is difficult. So as you can see, they made a lot of common pieces in the Mayfair collection, but if you find a pink bowl, you've struck gold, more to say, because, it's a difficult piece to find. So when researching all of that, you'll see that, maybe a tumbler might not bring in as much money as other sought after pieces in the same pattern. A little bit of history on Anchor Hocking. Hocking was named because of the Hocking River that was nearby, and they sold about $20,000 worth of glassware in their first year of operation. And just as things were going well with the company, it was reduced to ashes in a tragic fire. However, they did rebuild and they continued to grow even after the Great Depression hit. And they had several plants in operation and continued until the Anchor Hocking assets were sold in 2006. And you can find more information, history on the Anchor Hocking Glass Company, and I will link that link below that contains all of that information. Anchor Hocking basically used only three markings over its history. As you can see here, the original HG Company logo, this one here was used from 1905 until 1937. And then the anchor over the H logo was used from about 1937 until 1968. And then you have the anchor in the square. And this mark was basically used from 1968 until recently. The company has started using a stylized anchor over the H in the last few years. One of my favorite sites, as I mentioned earlier, to look for the different pattern names is the K&M Antique Store, and I will link their website like I mentioned previously below. The patterns at K&M Antiques is a great reference because not only do they give you the pattern line, but they also give you a history and they mention the sought after pieces, like this particular one. They do tell you which patterns are the best-selling patterns, which colors it comes in, and a little bit about the different pieces. Same thing with the cameo. It will tell you all about that particular pattern, so it makes it a little more easier to reference and to know what pieces you should be looking out for. And it does list mostly all of the patterns that the company makes or that they have been known to make. And like this particular one in the colonial, it does tell you the years that the pattern was made, the colors that it was made, who it was produced by, and we're learning about Anchor Hocking today. And it will tell you that there are so many common pieces here, but if you find the ruby pitcher and tumblers, they have been found, but only in two sheets. So this is a definite, sought after piece that you would want to look for, or if you find it, that you've really hit something big that you might make a good amount of money on. I always like to research the sold listings, but I also like to look at the listings that already are available for sale just to see what the pricing point is, and if even though I'm looking at the sold, if I'm not pricing too high or if I'm not pricing too low. So I like to look at both, not only sold listings but also the available listings. This one here is the block optic pattern, and you can see that the prices do range. You have a cup and saucer that someone's selling for $18. Then you have two a sugar and creamer bowl, and I say in every video I love sugar and creamers. They seem to sell well no matter what patterns that they are in. So this is the block optic pattern, and some pieces are rare, some pieces are not. These look like they're really not rare but everyday patterns. Here we have some sold listings in the block optic pattern, and as you can see down here, the covered butter dish, $39.95. Covered butter dishes, footed candy bowls, lidded candy bowls, things like that tend to be more popular. There are a few more. And here's another one of the vintage creamer and sugars. That one went for $38.80. A couple of tumblers, they did take a best offer on that. This next search that I did was on sold listings, and it was on the cameo pattern that I had that we mentioned previously. And this is on the rare pink color. And as you can see, the pink compote, the candy dish, $190. Salt and pepper shakers, $152.50. So this is definitely a more sought after pattern that you'd like to keep an eye out for. The cameo and the pink glass. You can see everything has been selling for a really good price. Got the sandwich plate. They have the salt and pepper shakers, the compote, and you can see there's a definite variety in the different pieces as to how much they are selling for. Again, candy dishes. Candy dishes, creamers, sugar, I'll say it all the time, they seem to go for a good amount of money. Pitchers. Pitchers are always something you want to keep an eye out for. They always seem to do well as well. And here I did a search on the Cameo sandwich plates because we read in the links that I showed you earlier that the sandwich plates were rare. So I did from that point, I did a sold search listing, and I see that those sandwich plates in that particular pattern, no matter what the color, seem to do very well. I mean, the plain Jane color here, no, but most of the colors, green, pink, they all sell for a nice amount of money, and this is just for one place. So definitely something to keep an eye out for when you're looking at yard sales and thrift stores or wherever you do your sourcing. The Mayfair pattern for anchor hocking is one of the most sought after patterns. Many of its pieces are very sought after, as you can see in these sold listings. There's the console bowl, $4,995. A sugar bowl with a lid, $3,250. Another sugar bowl. This pattern is just highly collectible. All the colors, you can see different pieces in all the colors. I mean, this is definitely one to look after. Also in this collection, there are some that aren't as highly sought after. So, I mean, you will see your mix of highly collectible and just your average, everyday pieces. But you can see with this pattern, you really can't go wrong. So I would definitely study up on the Mayfair pattern. So when I'm out thrifting or sourcing, I'll know if I see it right away. And even if it's not one of the highest sought after pieces, I'm still going to make a pretty good penny on this pattern because there are many collectors of this pattern on its own. And lastly, I just did a search on anchor hocking depression glass. As you can see, I put anchor hocking depression glass up here in the title, and I hit the sold, and I wanted to look at the shipping highest first. You can always change that and look however you'd like. Also, if you'll notice, when you look up anchor hocking depression glass, they'll also give you related search words like anchor hocking fiesta glass, anchor hocking old cafe, anchor hocking clear. You can look it up by the colors. So you have a lot of options when you're looking for the glass patterns or identifications that you want to find or how much something is worth. And as you can see, there are plenty of patterns that have a very high retail value. And you'll notice that a lot of them, the highest, like I said, is the Mayfair pattern. Here's one in the Princess pattern, and that went for $304 for tumblers. The Cameo pattern, $306 for some handled bowls. Big bowls. A vase in the Cameo pattern, $299. Again, from Mayfair. And really, it's all about once you know your pattern, and here you go. This is a well sought after milk glass. And it's Anchor Hocking Fire King, and it's the Snoopy mug. $255 for that vintage mug. It can definitely be profitable selling glass. You just have to be really, really careful on how you package it and how you ship it. I always insure things that are over a certain amount of money, and I get a delivery confirmation as well. And this basically is our session on depression glass. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Have a great day and great sales. Thanks for watching. Bye.